Well, hello there, friend. Hope you're enjoying this glorious morning. Today's title and today's subject is going to be strategically kept as a secret at the beginning of this offering and will be unveiled towards the end, because I want you to investigate your personal experience and follow along so that you get a truer understanding of how things affect you before I show the secret topic. So the intention is, by that point you'll have a greater understanding of how you are affected by certain things, and then you can consider possibly shifting your approach with the subject matter. All right, so if we look at some of your biggest fears, whether it's heights, whether it's spiders, everybody's consciousness can be programmed with a different fear. But when you experience that fear, if it's spiders and there's a spider in the room, what is your body doing in that moment? Is it relaxed and joyful? Or is it tight and panicky? And irritated? Understand that your fear is not necessarily rational, but instead something that prior to this moment has been planted in your consciousness. Maybe it's a fear of spiders, maybe you grew up in a house where your parents were afraid of spiders and you took on that belief system. Maybe you watched some movies which encourage or portray spiders as some big bad thing. Somewhere along the lines, no matter what your fear is, that seed has been planted in your consciousness. Now, did you know that you can get hypnotized to shift that belief and you are no longer afraid of that? Not only are you no longer afraid of that, but you can find joy in that. If you were afraid of spiders, you could actually find joy in having a spider on you, crawling on your hand, and you'd be investigating it just curiously. A much different experience, and all that shifted was the seed that's been planted in consciousness. When we have this fear pop up, do you think it serves our joy? Do you think it makes us more joyful? Do you think it makes our health improve? Or would it be considered a stress which is commonly understood to be the leading cause of illness? If you are fearful and you are stressed, are you more likely and more susceptible to illness? Or do you become naturally healthier when you're more stressed? So how you perceive something actually determines its influence on your physiology. If I see a spider and I think it's beautiful and I'm just curious about it, my physiology is acting completely different than somebody else who is programmed to be fearful of spiders. They're over in the corner of the room, if not leaving the room. And I'm just here curiously watching it and investigating it in a playful manner. Whose physiology would be more healthful? Whose mind is more joyful, less stressed? So the idea is, once we understand that if we perceive something stressfully, we are basically becoming a magnet, attracting the worst experience of that directly to us. If we surrender that, we could just be at peace. We could be unaffected. We could just be joyful. Is that not so? Stress causes illness. Fear is a source of stress. Anger is a source of stress. Worry is a source of stress. People who are more stressed have more illness and are more prone to illness. Is that a belief system, or is that just basic physiology? When you're stressed, are you more relaxed? Does your digestion work better when you're more stressed? Does your immune system work better when you're more stressed? No, this is why illness basically forces you to slow down and relax so that you can get into that state of wellness and recuperate. So I feel I've spoken sufficiently at this moment that you've had time to investigate your experience and see that fear causes chaos in the body, panic in the body. It disrupts peace in the body. Now, this audio is being recorded in February 2021. What is the most common thing discussed in our culture and on the news right now? It's the coronavirus. How have you been programmed to react to information regarding the coronavirus? Have you been programmed to react joyful, which strengthens your immunity and makes you healthful? And you're so happy? Or have you been programmed to be scared of it? What does fear do? Strengthen your immune system or weaken it? Is fear a source of stress? Absolutely. When you see a spider and you're scared of a spider, what happens? Are you all of a sudden scared of flus in a way that you were never scared of flus before? What seeds have been planted in your consciousness? regarding specifically the coronavirus? Fearful ones? Ones that automatically put your immune system out because of the fear that you experience that comes to mind when you hear this information? Or joy, understanding that you're the creator. Your mindset determines your health. If you're not stuck in fear and worry all day and you're not stressing your mind out, if you're not allowing the mind to stress you out all the day, your body is just naturally more immune. When we hear this information from the authorities, from the resources that we're being told to consider authorities regarding something like the coronavirus, are they instilling joy, which empowers you, or are they instilling fear, which creates a stress in you, which makes you more prone to illness? So if you found that you are stressed by the idea of coronavirus, that's just a very clear indication that seeds of fear, fearful perceptions have been planted in your consciousness. And you're going to now have that experience of fear every time because that's the seed that's been planted until and unless you decide that you are actively going to replace that program. And the way you do it is first you have to cut off the source that keeps reaffirming that fear. So if you haven't already stopped listening to the news, now would be an opportunity to do so, because there's quite a bit of negative affirming going on through it. You don't need to keep up to date. If you keep up to date, try and find a resource that doesn't affirm the negative and the fear regarding it. I would encourage you, if you want to be healthy, to actually stop reaffirming anything to do with the coronavirus and just reaffirm health. Health. Plant that seed. Plant that program. If something on the news or somebody in your experience is discussing it and your mind has that stressful, fearful reaction, in order to change it, you need to challenge it. You cannot accept it. So, if somebody in the room you're in is talking and they're not even talking to you and they're talking about the coronavirus, but it elicits a response in your mind because you've got that program to have fear because it's a scary thing. You've been taught to think it's such a scary thing. There you have to challenge it in your mind in that moment and say, my body only does wellness. You're planting that seed. You're replacing the fear. My body only does wellness. I am safe. I'm healthier than I've ever been. And see how you're not saying, I no longer get sick. You're not focusing on the derogatory. You're not focusing on the negative. You're affirming the positive. My body only does wellness. And that mindset is much different than I don't get sick anymore. So begin to, instead of accept these negative programs about the coronavirus, begin to challenge them and replace them. And at first, it might not feel right to you. At first, it might not feel true to you. And the only reason that is because it's contraindication. Well, it's not in alignment with the current seed that's planted. But you'll see very quickly how it starts to make sense. It starts to feel right. It starts to feel normal. And that's when you know that you're uprooting the previous seed, the previous program, and this new one is settling in. All right? This doesn't mean that you can't still take precautions if you still have that mindset. Just begin to challenge everything, every limitation, everything that's fearful, and change your mindset about it. Even if you continue to wear a mask for the time being, don't have the mindset that I wear this mask because I don't want to get the coronavirus. But rather, I'm currently wearing this mask to ensure my health. To remind me that I make all the steps to be healthy. All right? This is a big one. This is an important one. And guess what? This teaching is universal. It's very nice that we can use it with something that affects so many people at the moment. So many people can resonate with this when you use the coronavirus as an example. But it's not just the coronavirus. Everything that's fearful in your life, everything that's a source of fear in your life is only a past program. And it's only going to affect you as long as you tolerate it and fail to replace it. All right? So I love you. Your body only does wellness. You are powerful. You are joyful. Your joy ensures your health. And I love you. Have a glorious day.